Okay. Are we live?
Yes, we are.
All right. Welcome to the Saga of the Clone Saga, presented by the students of S.H.I.E.L.D. We read the Clone Saga, as the title would suggest. And I'm Billy.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Vincent. And this week, our sponsor is Hootie and the Blowfish's 1994 debut album, which will come up later.
Will be spicy.
With this episode, we're covering the Planet of the Symbiotes story arc. This story is told across super special one-shots, which are attached to the 4 main Spider-Man titles, and there's a Venom issue. The entire crossover is written by David Michelinie, who is Venom's creator. Michelinie wrote Amazing Spider-Man pretty much continuously from issue 292 in 1987 to issue 388 in 1994, so almost 7 full years. And major stories that he wrote in that span include the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane, the creation of Venom, a bunch more Venom plots, the assassination plot, which is a terrible name, Spidey's tenure as Captain Universe when he had the cosmic powers, the return of the Sinister Six, the introduction of Carnage, Spidey and Venom making their truce, Maximum Carnage, and then he also wrote Venom's first solo series, and he also wrote most of that story that we referenced toward the beginning where Peter Parker's parents come back, but they're fake from the chameleon or whatever. And after Michelinie's long Spider-Man tenure, Mike, do you know what he did?
Who, Michelinie?
Yeah. After
he left Spider-Man? I'm assuming that since you threw it to me asking, he did something with Batman or something with Daredevil or something with Ghost Rider.
None of the above. He wrote Action Comics for 3 years, including being involved in that character's wedding and the infamous Superman Red and Blue era.
Wait, the wedding album? I own that.
Yep. I don't think he actually wrote that issue, or at least he didn't write the actual marriage, but he was leading into it and all that stuff. Was one of the guys on the books. So our first special is the Amazing Spider-Man one, and we've got a cover by Steve Lytle, and it's like a pretty dumb cover, but I think it's kind of fun. There's like an ego-looking thing where it's a planet with a Venom face on it. It's kind of funny. And though Steve Lytle does the cover, inside it's Dave Hoover on pencils, who I'm more familiar with for his work on Captain America near the very end of Mark Gruenwald's run, which I'm not really a fan of his work there, but like it looks slightly different here. I don't know what's going on. It's not quite as super 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you guys think of the art, first of all?
I didn't think any issue was particularly great.
I don't think this is terrible either. It's not. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's better than some of the stuff we've been reading, though. It's
absolutely
like average. It's average art. It's nothing really to write home about.
Occasionally, Venom looks like a frog, but other than that, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So Spidey, Peter is fighting Neo-Luddites in the beginning of this issue, and the Luddites were a group of industrial workers in England in the 1810s who destroyed machinery because they thought it would replace their skilled jobs. And then Ludditism is the philosophy birthed from that movement that opposes technological progress, which was not really the goal in the first place of the Luddites. And as far as like how people become Luddites, it kind of varies. Like sometimes it's linked to religious stuff, or just in general, like people wanting to go back to more primitive lifestyles and stuff like that. In this issue, it's like sort of linked to environmentalism, but I mean these villains get no real depth, which makes sense.
They don't need any.
Yeah, they're not the focus. And Eddie Brock is contemplating his ethics at this point and questioning to what degree he has control over the symbiote. And it references the separation anxiety miniseries, which I think we've mentioned before in this podcast, and the basic gist of it, based on the title, is pretty obvious. and he sees Spidey causing commotion and jumps in. And Billy, what do you think about the Venom characterization off the bat?
I don't hate it. It's not my favorite. I will be on record as saying I hate this arc, but I think, I think the way that Eddie acts is kind of strange.
What'd
Like
you think about his giant mullet?
Oh, it's disgusting looking, but it goes away after like the first one, so it's all good. Yeah, like I get separation anxiety had like an effect on him, but I feel like if they're as psychologically linked as they're hinted to be like later on, that his eagerness to separate with the symbiote wouldn't have been at that level.
Yeah, so he's at this point he's hesitating. He doesn't eat someone's brains, and Spidey takes note of this.
He might be better.
Then we get, as you expect, an MJ interlude, and Pete prescribes as Dr. Parker that MJ needs to drink whole milk for her and the baby. What do you guys think of Hoover's MJ?
Not my
Looks
least
like MJ.
favorite MJ.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, it was kind of fine. He did like a ponytail kind of thing.
Like,
was all right.
like at the beginning, it's fine. Like, it looks like normal comic book art. Like,
And then
there's
we get
nothing separating it from being great.
And then we get Spidey going to the Baxter building, and we get a whole refresher on Venom's origin thanks to Reed Richards' computer. And I dig this appearance of the Thing, as short as it was. He's
The flashback?
Huh?
The flashback?
No, just I'm saying the Thing. I liked how the Thing appeared here.
Yeah.
He gets to smoke a cigar. He's playing with the Rubik's Cube, which he later smashes. And yeah, we get a flashback of the whole Venom history. And Anton Sperzel is a name that like randomly popped up earlier in the issue, and he's some engineer who's wrapped up in this plot. And Ben is going to go help Spidey, and then he disappears like very quickly later on. But we get a weird reference to Bill Clinton's appetite for burgers.
I saw that was funny.
And I just, for the hell of it, I Googled Bill Clinton cheeseburgers.
Okay.
And I found some like New York Times article from 1992 while he was the president-elect, and it was talking about his propensity for nice fatty food. And Hillary Clinton, there was a quote from Hillary Clinton how it's a major problem in their marriage that Bill does not like chocolate. And Hillary
Little would they know that they also have another major problem to their marriage.
Hillary and Chelsea are big fans of chocolate cake with chocolate icing. So they take the Fantastic Car, which was also great to see.
Yes, it was.
And Sperzel is showing off this virtual reality drone thing. Which, I mean, I guess this is virtual reality.
Is it?
Because there's like not really control like that. I thought at first, I'm like, how is this different from just like controlling a drone through it like a camera, but just putting it on a headset? But I guess there's no controls. I don't understand this. It's not like it matters.
I think virtual reality is one of the terms they were throwing around in the 90s that nobody really understood.
I mean, it's to be excused too, because like obviously even just literally like the concept of it has changed a bunch over time.
Sure.
Sperzel is also rocking a bolo tie. Thought that was funny.
It's fashionable.
And then Sperzel gets ambushed by the Luddites, and then they get ambushed by our heroes. And I think it's funny how they call attention to the fact that these Luddites are constantly using these advanced technologies. in order to destroy advanced technology.
Yeah.
So one of them immediately like takes control of the drone. And earlier they were using laser rifles, all of them. And Eddie detaches from his symbiote, tells it to go screw, and the symbiote gets depressed. It's a sad little.
It walks away like Bill Bixby at the end of a Hulk episode.
Sad little goo alien, and it screams. And I guess like all the effects on Earth, and then the other effects, which are maybe more important. I guess that was unintentional from the symbiote. Like, I don't feel like the symbiote wanted to do all this.
I don't think so, but I'm not sure what it was trying to do.
Yeah,
A dude shot himself. Like,
but then I don't understand. So the symbiote scream has like this ripple effect, and I guess some of it is like on people who have been previously attached to symbiotes. Matt, that was supposed to be John Jameson, right? I was guessing.
I think so.
But
think it has to be.
Who would that? I don't know who that woman is. I mean, I guess I haven't been following John Jameson's arc that closely at this point.
Right. No, neither have I.
But he was never. I mean, he was married once to She-Hulk, like 10 years from now. I don't know. But we just get John, and I thought that was him because he was previously attached to Carnage shortly.
Right.
And then there's like a dog that freaks out, and I'm like, I'm assuming in some dumb Venom miniseries there was a dog attached to a symbiote. I believe
it might have been in Separation Anxiety, actually.
Yeah, one of Venom's spawns does get attached to like a war German Shepherd, like way down the line.
Right.
It hasn't happened yet. But I don't know. This is weird. But then also, so I thought it was like affecting people that are connected to symbiotes, because we also see Cletus Cassidy at Ravencroft, and he's freaking out, but in his coma. I don't know. But it's also affecting normal people, and or like just maybe I'm underestimating the number of people who've been attached to symbiotes at this point. But it says that the statistics of alcohol consumption greatly rose on this night. And it also shows someone killing himself. And like seems to indicate that's not an isolated thing.
Yeah, that's really weird.
In December, it's still going.
Yeah, I didn't totally understand these effects things on Earth. But then there's a spaceship in the woods, and there are symbiotes in it, which is scary.
It is very scary. I am frightened, personally.
All right, so then moving into part 2, I think this cover is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's terrible.
It's like Ben and Peter like flopping around in a liquid, multicolored symbiote slime.
This cover encapsulates, I think, everything that I hate about the symbiotes.
I like how we open this issue with some pretty bad art, number one. But Peter Parker is just shirtless in what I can only assume to be vinyl or leather gold pants, holding a gun.
Yeah, so I'm going to address that art real quick. This is Joe St. Pierre on art. And it seems like he might have been a reliable fill-in guy because he just has lots of one-offs on random series. But I don't know why you'd necessarily hire this guy for fill-ins. He did 2 of the Venom miniseries, but they're both after this. Otherwise, his only ongoing work was for Valiant.
Okay.
But it connects here. It's worth noting because he drew Rye from the beginning of the series through the Unity crossover, and that was written by David Michelinie. So I feel like Michelinie might have pulled him in for this.
There you go. That's possible.
And he wrote and drew another book for Valiant called Secret Weapons for a little bit. And then
I don't have some serious dirt face on Peter too.
I don't think he's really done much else. That's like pretty much all. And the art is like trash. It's like it looks like it's unfinished.
Yeah.
I'm not really like an expert on comics art, but I feel like some of this could probably be blamed on the inker.
It looks like it's sketched, honestly. It looks, like I said, I was about to say it too. It looks unfinished.
I think it looks like
the lines are all.
I think it looks like it was colored in MS Paint. Like the colors are awful.
The coloring is really bad too, but like none of the lines, like especially like the outlines of characters and objects, like they just kind of like they're very soft.
I'm pretty sure Ben's hoodie is colored wrong in one of the fight panels.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's colored wrong in 2 panels actually. But also, as Mike said, Pete and MJ have matching pajamas, which are like in this disgusting neon yellow.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, well, she says pajamas when she hands him his costume, but like that's disgusting. Like even for pajamas, you're not going to take them outside, but why would you want these?
Also, I forgot to mention this in the last issue, but MJ's like, why do you still have like Peter's like, well, I gotta put the he's like, I gotta make us money by selling pictures of Spider-Man. That's why I gotta keep going out. I'm like, your wife's a supermodel. I'm pretty sure she can start like selling the news that she's pregnant for even more money than you'd get for taking pictures of Spider-Man, dude.
I don't know. Their careers are all over the place. That's just kind of the way Spider-Man works.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked how we have the 3 panels when Spider-Man's like on his little web line, like dropping down and like he's there. And then 2 panels later, Ben's just sitting right beside him. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. But Pete whips out his sonic gun. And there's something going on with Cletus Cassidy. And also, I don't know if you guys remember, in the first arc when we were at Ravencroft, they had Cletus in like this like hyper secure like chamber that dampened his abilities. And he was like he could be totally awake and conscious in it too. And it posed no threat until Judas Traveler came in and unlocked all the prisoners. So like even if he's in a coma, like just put the bed in that room. I don't know why they're even risking this.
Yeah.
That's whatever. And then Ben just literally pops in. It was kind of funny where like Pete's like hanging and then Ben just comes down right next to him.
He's like, what's going on? So I guess they're cool now, by the way. They're not like pulling any stupid like angst with each other.
I mean, they've like mostly made up in the actual Clone Saga, but another thing that's definitely worth noting is like the actual plots of the Clone Saga don't get addressed at all in this issue, in this story.
That's kind of a nice little break from all the clone angst.
Yeah, it's a break, but it definitely brings up some wrinkles, which I'm going to get to. Mm-hmm. But so Pete hands Eddie the sonic gun since Eddie got rid of his symbiote, but Eddie already came prepared because he has pouches all over and an actual gun, which we never see him use. So then Eddie with all the pouches, like the strap pouches and the gun and the sonic gun, he just reminded me of like a G.I. Joe or like an actual like more stereotypical 90s anti-hero at this point.
He might as well be without the symbiote. Also, his mullet is gone. He cut it.
Yeah. I mean, or something happened. Maybe the mullet was part of the symbiote.
I like to think that it was.
Because the symbiote replicates his clothes, so it deals with his clothes, but also gives him a mullet. Because the symbiote wants to look cool. And so there's another symbiote, which may be Eddie's, maybe not. Eddie presumes that it's not his, and it's stealing a technobabble machine to do something.
Yeah, basically.
Did you guys? There's the one panel where Pete and Ben, they jump at the same time to save Eddie from when he's flying.
Right.
And I don't know why, but like I definitely thought of that panel where Pete and Ben both drop kick Carnage at the same time that we pointed out. It's like a weird, like probably totally unintentional, but like a parallel to that. Because it's like the same staging and everything.
Very similar.
And well, there is some clone angst between them because Ben is having these hunches which make no sense, and Pete assumes that they're dangerous clone powers.
Because that makes sense. That's how cloning works.
And then Another MJ interlude is she's trying on maternity clothes, and I don't know what kind of clothes these are because I don't understand it. She's like putting on like an apron looking thing over her existing. I don't understand. But the attendant at this boutique or whatever tells her that the attendant doesn't have kids because her husband is a cop, and it's a dangerous job, and it's not fair for the kid to have children, considering the danger that his dad would be in. And obviously, this is hinting at like a major question for the Spider dad status quo. But this is kind of a dumb argument in my opinion. The actual most dangerous jobs, at least in the United States and the world, are like weird stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Well, if you really think about it, they make sense. But like logging, commercial fishing, roofers, steel workers, anyone who's in like a mill or a factory, and even the most dangerous jobs, like the most dangerous common jobs, barely comes out to a 0.15% fatality rate. And police officers, they're not even. I mean, not to remotely denigrate the police officers, but their fatality rate is like 0.01%, like not even near the top 10. And so it's kind of like saying like, oh, I saw a plane crash on the news, I'm never going to ride a plane. Like, it's not a great comparison, but like,
or I saw a plane crash on the news, I'm not going to have a kid, so he can't get in the plane crash.
Yeah, exactly. So
I saw the guy's feet fall off from walking, so therefore I don't walk anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really like. Who knows what the fatality rate is for superheroes? It could be really high, like all things considered.
With all those resurrections, they're probably actually pretty low.
Well, I don't know how like you still die, and if you get resurrected and then die again, that still adds to the statistic. And as the 90s roll on, it's getting higher. But even still, Spidey, he's way better equipped than almost all of like the majority of his super heroic peers. He's got super strength, healing factor. He's also mostly a street level character, so he's not really facing these cosmic and supernatural and otherworldly threats.
Well, you've mentioned all the deaths that are happening now because it's the 90s. We're in 95 now in publishing time, so Superman died in what, 94, right?
Yeah, I think so, pretty much. Superman's probably dead at this point.
Oh yeah, he's totally dead at this. We're probably right into the reign of Superman right now.
But basically, I don't think the numbers work out. So this isn't really a quality argument to make in opposition of a superhero having a child. Mm-hmm. Now, the whole kidnapping question, that's a totally different thing. Like that Spider-Man has always had to worry about, and any character that with a public identity, obviously that's a thing, but it's a little separate. And so back to the actual plot, the trio, our little trio tracks down the symbiote, and there's some kind of portal thing. And did you guys like the midget symbiote?
No.
It reminded me of Jack, and it made me sad.
I miss Jack.
What about if it was Jack?
Jack's a pool of fucking sludge, so I doubt it.
I thought this was hilarious. It's like a tiny, like it's a child. It's probably like a toddler, and just jumps in the air. And Ben is like, "I'm gonna fight this child symbiote," and then he gets kicked and goes flying. I really wanted this to come back.
This splash page of the Stargate looking thing is really, I think, kind of frustrating. I don't. People like Venom, people like Carnage because they look really cool. If you're gonna do a story about a bunch of Venoms, you can at least make them look cool. These are terrible. Like these black blobby things are disgusting. I don't understand what they're going for with this.
It bothers me a lot that all of that race are apparently the same color.
Yes.
And even in the cover, it had different colored symbiotes, and I was like, okay. And then we get in and they're all black, which I really don't like because even all of Venom's kids are different colors. Like, they explain that later on for Carnage because, like, oh, he was born on Earth, he has different properties. But that planet that they end up visiting and whatever it came from
Mhm.
was not their home planet. So they should have different generations of symbiotes on each planet that look slightly different, you'd think. But
You would expect.
I mean, it's also a Spider-Man comic, so of course they didn't think that far.
I don't understand the color at all. But Ben Reilly's hoodie is a symbiote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did this switcheroo happen? We didn't see
I have
it.
no idea.
I think the way they kind of explain it is that Venom put part of himself onto Ben when they fought, and that explains how his hoodie always got repaired. He didn't actually buy new ones.
Well, we see him in this issue rip a new one out. And he just shoddily draws a new spider on it with a magic marker, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. So then the third part, or the middle, is the actual Venom issue. And
where they go to the world of Alien and H.R. Giger.
Yeah, the symbiotes on this planet, they just totally look like xenomorphs in a lot of ways, but they have like 4 arms.
They have the same head structure.
Yeah. So the art here in this issue, the cover and the interiors are by Kyle Hotz, and I kind of dig his Venom because he does this like hyper exaggerated musculature that works for this character. Kind of like the Hulk. Like you don't have to worry about your muscles looking stupid as hell if you're drawing Venom. And Hotz has a history with these kind of like slight horror kind of books. He did some Marvel Knights and Max books like Zombie and Man Thing, and he co-created the Hood with Brian K. Vaughan, which Bendis would use a ton. And he also co-created the Cosmic Hero Wraith in Annihilation Conquest, which never took off. And he actually did 2 Carnage one-shots shortly after this, and one of them was with Warren Ellis. And if you ask people, they'll say like 90s apologists, they'll say like that's the only good Carnage story ever. And they note how this is not the symbiote's home, and I don't really know. Like they just come to that conclusion. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know how they put that together. And then Eddie realizes that Ben's hoodie is his symbiote, which, like, they could have explained that more because it's kind of a reach when they've seen all these other symbiotes around. It could have been a spy. And Matt, here's a major question for you.
Yes.
At some point here, Pete says that Ben has clone memories. So they arrive on the planet and Eddie is like freaking out at seeing all these symbiotes and he's on a foreign planet. Pete says that Ben has clone memories of other planets. Does this add up? I don't think it does.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what that means.
I mean, the whole
other planets?
Yeah, the whole clone memories thing is like, it's like anything Peter Parker did before Amazing Spider-Man 150. That's my interpretation. Ben has full memories of that. But I don't think Pete really did anything cosmic before then.
I don't believe so, no.
Yeah, like the original Clone Saga was the most ridiculous story, and that's where the cutoff is. So that doesn't make sense.
Wait, did the arc that they reference of the origin of Venom not happen before?
No, that's like that's like 10 years later.
Then I don't know.
And then the MJ interlude page in this issue makes no sense. It's so weird. She's like hyper aggressively working out, and Hotz just draws her like this like fantasy character. It's weird.
It's insane.
So weird.
I didn't realize it was her
for some reason too, not red.
Yeah, and she's wearing like insane workout clothes. It's like she has like some kind of like dry fit kind of top on, but then she also has like just a ripped shirt on top of it, but it's just like a rag.
Yeah, she's just carrying through it. I don't know why she's wearing that.
It literally is just it can't even be called a crop top because it's literally covering where her nipples would be.
And
That's all it's doing.
this other woman just like tries to check on her. She's like, "How you doing?" And she just like yells at her because her husband is fighting aliens.
Up and like fucking juicing and shit.
But
Maybe
like,
pregnant. Maybe pregnant age MJ just has like a craving to work out instead of to eat.
it's so dumb. But like, I laughed at this page because I'm like, "What is this?" And there's no reason for it either. But then we get earlier Peter was on the computer at the Baxter building and we got an info dump with some lore. And now Eddie merges with the symbiote. No, Eddie merges with Ben Reilly's hoodie and we get a bunch of lore info dump. And then Eddie like immediately like acknowledges like, why the heck didn't you tell me all this before? So the symbiotes are a conquering race and they're addicted to emotions and adrenaline rush. And somehow by like harvesting the emotions,
they're your worst ex-girlfriend.
Somehow by harvesting the emotions of their hosts, they also kill them. But the symbiote that's attached to Venom wants to belong and join with the host rather than dominate them. So it was put on trial and sentenced to die. And I guess it was on death row awaiting disintegration when the Beyonder took this part of the Clintar's home planet, just the like prison cell, which somehow has like a machine thing, and grabbed that and put that on the battle world for Secret Wars, which is where Peter Parker got the symbiote. This is so weird.
It's kind of dumb.
I think you mean dumb, yeah.
It makes no sense. It's like oh wait, didn't the Deadpool Secret Wars retcon tie-in miniseries that they did? It was like during the modern Secret Wars, Deadpool's tie-in was a flashback to the original Secret Wars, and retcon that Deadpool was there, and like he sleeps with the girl that Colossus cheats on Kitty with or whatever, and then they made a sequel to that one, and I'm pretty sure that's where Deadpool gets involved with the symbiote. So I don't know how that connects because I feel like there have to be guards in the prison. Like, were there other symbiotes on Battleworld, and what happened to them? It's so dumb.
I have no idea.
But Ravencroft did ship Cletus out to another facility, thankfully, and they have him hooked up, and his brain waves are being turned into binary code. Matt, how does that work?
It doesn't.
All right, and then we've ragged on Ben's costume with the stupid hoodie, but without the hoodie, he looks 10 times dumber.
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the sea of red, this red lycra suit with no texture, no design.
Hard to look at.
Awkward. But he still has his tactical belt.
Of course.
And then, so they're escaping this planet, and someone has to stay behind to control the gate. And then, like Mike said, Ben is miscolored blue here for a second, and which really really confuses things. Like they could have miscolored him in any other panel.
Did we want to talk about how Cletus Cassidy's back in the or because he's like back in it when he was like in a bed before?
No, yeah, he gets transported to a different facility.
Okay, then I missed him getting transported because like he was like in his little bed and then he's like has a ball gag on his mouth and I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Oh, you didn't miss anything. They'd explain it. Like they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, he was transferred. It isn't like they show him being transferred.
Right.
But so Ben offers to be the one to stay back because he's the clone, so his life is expendable. But actually, Venom is the only one who could stay behind and activate it. And then they're ambushed because the symbiotes were camouflaged in with the surroundings.
Okay,
but then...
hold on. I have a huge fucking problem with this. Like, I can get that the symbiotes can camouflage whatever. They can transform into clothes. I imagine they can just turn into whatever they're like on top of. But the way they explain in some continuities Venom being able to not activate Pete's spider sense is because he bonded with him and understands how it works. However, none of these other symbiotes bonded with Pete, and so they have no idea the spider sense even exists, let alone how it works. So they should all activate his spider sense long before Venom senses his other brothers like around him, which is way too late, by the way.
Yes,
that's totally correct.
that's a major problem.
Also, as far as the art goes, the panel where they're like standing on the bridge deciding who wants to sacrifice themselves. If you have the pages open in front of you, look at the torsos and then look at all of their lower bodies. It's like this huge, like hulking upper body and like these super skinny bodies, but like he gives them both protruding, all three of them like protruding, perfectly sculpted asses, and it's really funny looking.
But then Venom ends up escaping too, so the entire like tension of that sequence is pointless
Entirely.
And the gate doesn't close behind them because the symbiotes there got a taste of Earth, so they do the coordinates. I don't understand this.
Well, we have two more issues.
And so the invasion begins. I like it's not great, but this final splash page kind of intriguing.
That's fine.
So moving into part 4, there are all these symbiotes on Earth, and this time these ones, like when they actually cut to Earth, they all have different colors, and they're attaching to humans and dogs and everything. And the art in this issue is done by Derek Robertson, who's had a pretty strong career. I'm gonna just quickly highlight he did Transmetropolitan with Warren Ellis and The Boys with Garth Ennis, big indie books. And this invasion is sold as like a really huge thing.
Yeah.
Which, like, a part of me is thankful that this isn't the case, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe a Captain America issue should have shown this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, they made it out to be like, oh my god, all of these people, all these heroes are straight up getting taken by these symbiotes, and they straight up show Cap. And I was wondering, did that even happen in anything outside of this story? Like, did anything even mention that it happened?
Probably
I don't
not.
think at all.
But do we want to mention what what Venom Cap is wearing?
Oh yeah, is he wearing his armor at this point?
Yep, he's wearing his armor.
Yep.
Oh, that's why he looks like a football player. With bat wings on his head.
Yeah, but like this is a huge deal. Like this is a full-on alien invasion of the entire Earth.
The Inhumans are involved.
All right, I have to address this. All right, this is another big technical problem. So we see Cap has been symbiote has merged with Cap, and then we quickly see the Human Torch and the Black Bolt fighting symbiotes, which it makes sense because the symbiote's weaknesses are fire and sonics. But Black Bolt's powers have nothing to do with sound. His voice is not sound. It's more closer to like a nuclear blast. So this does not make sense. The same reason why all these like hack modern writers who want to show Black Bolt and Dazzler facing off each other. It doesn't make sense. Black Bolt would just destroy Dazzler.
Right.
Most people would.
And then also seeing Cap, it also made me think, and it's not like random heroes don't get attached to symbiotes in like Venom stories all the time anyways.
I mean,
but I was totally thinking like,
Venom story. Spider-Man Web of Shadows, everyone gets a symbiote.
Yeah, I was totally thinking this is like almost close to like Venomverse 25 years ago, where it's like if they had actually shown more of the background scenes, like we'd see like all these like random D-list heroes like getting infected by symbiotes.
I'm gonna interrupt again for a second. Billy says stop. Billy, did you buy Venomverse?
I bought every issue of Venomverse.
Yeah, fuck off. We're gonna mention it.
It's so bad, man.
Did you buy Edge of Venomverse?
Yeah, every issue.
I want you to look straight to the camera and say, I bought every single issue of Venomverse.
I bought every single issue of Venomverse.
All right, but Mike,
Going in your tombstone.
there's a Venom Ghost Rider.
No, and he looks super cool, and then he does nothing and dies
God
immediately.
damn it! Stop talking. This makes me angry.
But then we get our MJ interlude, and I don't know how much time we've skipped, but she's boarded up all the windows by herself.
Yeah.
And then I like how she chances upon her cigarettes again, looking for candles or something, and she acts like a struggling former addict, and she like says the cigarettes smell so good, and she's like just one puff, and then she remembers she's pregnant.
Is
Was
her
that a
smoking
thing?
even
Was
like?
was MJ a smoker?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Was it like a big thing though, or was it like it just in the background?
It was like kind of a big thing. It was basically from like kind of right before where we started reading, because like Pete was going through the whole spider thing, and MJ was also freaking out, and so she started smoking for some reason, and then Pete deals with the spider thing through the Clone Saga, and then MJ reconnects with her family, so she's no longer a smoker. It's like it was kind of the thing. It was dumb.
There was no. All right. Well, we read all of that, but there was no real thing of her smoking in that.
No, I'm saying the smoking is right before where we started.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But her reconnecting with her family is coincides with her stopping smoking.
Oh, okay.
And I like how Pete, our three heroes, they're like basically kiting symbiotes. They're like making them follow them, and then they get in this, like, I guess it's a sewer pipe, and then they smash the sewer pipe behind them to trap a bunch of them. I thought it was funny. It should have been a longer scene. Could have been.
And then Cletus Cassidy is now shown in less restraints for some reason. He was in a huge ass machine that looked very painful, and now he's just like kind of strapped to a gurney.
Because for some reason, no one will believe his doctor when his doctor said that he moved.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the guards is a symbiote, and
oh my god, his fucking symbiote mustache is.
I wanted it the minute I saw it. I wanted to fucking mention it. I was like, "What is this?"
And
it's like it's like no mesh.
And Cletus Cassidy starts bleeding. He gets a little cut, and so Carnage is unleashed. And Carnage can absorb other symbiotes apparently,
and grow to 40 feet tall,
which I find kind of awesome. Like, it's really stupid, but I like the idea of the kaiju Carnage.
Yeah, no, it's cool, but also doesn't make any sense and is stupid.
Yeah.
What's very odd is that, does he grow giant in Maximum Carnage?
I don't
know.
See, that's the story you should have grew giant in.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I mean, the thing in Maximum Carnage is that he had his own team too. So it was like the Spidey team versus the Carnage team. But then the heroes go to a mall, and they're gonna go on a scavenger hunt for things that can help them defeat the symbiotes. And this is where Ben finds his replacement hoodie, and I like how he leaves a few bucks for the store owner. And we've seen Peter Parker take things and not pay people back, just say that he'll pay them back and then doesn't do it.
I'm not saying it's because Peter's a menace, but I mean.
But when we get to the mall, I want to mention that there's a sign for it. It's clearly Barney inspired, where it says, "Hey kids, skate with Benny."
Yeah.
Left on the ice, so that the symbiotes tragically killed Benny. So rip in pieces Benny the dinosaur.
But then both Pete and Venom apparently come up totally short in this entire mall. They couldn't find any boom boxes, can't find any matches, no lighter fuel. They couldn't find anything. And Ben finds propane paint.
Yeah, he comes running out, chased by a sea of symbiotes, and it looks like it was pulled straight out of Scooby-Doo.
He makes a classic movie reference.
Yep.
What, they're here?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, from Poltergeist.
is that a reference, or is he just saying they're here because they're here?
It's stretched
knowing,
out.
knowing Spider-Man
It's
is
stretched out.
definitely a reference.
Well, has Ben
It's
Riley
at least written that. Just like that, so.
has Ben Riley seen Poltergeist?
That's a good question.
Well, Peter Parker's seen Poltergeist, therefore we would know if he has the memories.
Well, no, it has to be. Has Peter Parker seen it, and was it before Amazing Spider-Man?
What year did he get cloned?
Ben,
The
like the
70s.
70s.
Then,
sliding time.
unless he saw it afterwards, no.
Well, Poltergeist came out in 1982, so probably not.
I mean, on the he doesn't have the clone memories, but also he's still been around this whole time. I don't know
Well,
how
it was
often.
revealed that in the cloning process, in the chamber thing, the Jackal could watch movies.
True.
And porn.
So maybe he watched it in there.
But also, I mean,
Look, that doesn't work.
I want to imagine that Ben Riley took what's her name, Elizabeth Tyne, to a few movies out in Utah
Before
Sure,
she
yeah.
disappeared.
Yep. And so they lock themselves in a room and they blast feedback noise, which deals with the symbiotes. And Carnage, I thought this was kind of hilariously stupid too. He tortures himself for info because he absorbed the other symbiote, so he just lights himself on fire, and he's like, "It's gonna hurt me too, but I don't care." There are multiple instances in this story where characters just use like their emo abilities to win the day.
It is.
And so their plan is to reverse the portal to send everyone back. And I don't totally understand this plan because like they're also going to use like Sonics or something to get everyone to go back to the portal, but they never fully explain that. And then Eddie Brock has an alternate plan at the end, which actually ends up working. But then I liked their usage of the propane tanks. I wish the art would have shown it off better, but
would Hank Hill be proud of that use of propane?
Yeah, they have like mini torches hooked up to the propane tanks, and they're holding them in both hands. So like I imagine they're just like flying around, like like using them as jetpacks while killing symbiotes.
Not as cool as the Jackal's jetpack.
But everything goes wrong, and a symbiote ship blows up the portal, which worked out for the symbiotes because they don't necessarily need to go back to that planet. So the invasion force is trapped on Earth, and who shows up to save the day?
Carnage.
Is it? I mean, he didn't really. He just kind of. He was like, "Hey, I'm big enough, I think, and these guys are doing shit that I agree with, so I'm just gonna go absorb Venom because I hate my dad. I have daddy issues. Even though
Basically.
if he could absorb Venom, it would have happened already because he's
Yeah.
definitely come into contact with Venom before.
Yeah, the whole absorb thing doesn't make sense. Whatever. So in this 5th issue, the art is by Steve Lytle, who's mostly known for his run on Legion of Superheroes in the mid-'80s, and he launched the Doom Patrol series that Grant Morrison would eventually take over. And so Carnage is now 40 feet tall. And
where is Cletus Cassidy in this? Is he like in his head? Is he in his chest somewhere?
I imagine it's like
very valid point because I did not know.
The issues are too far away, but one of Malibu's superheroes was called Prime. It was kind of like a take on Captain Marvel, DC's Captain Marvel. So it's a little kid who turns into a superhero, but instead of like kind of just instantly like switching or like switching out depending on what the continuity is at that point, Prime creates like this like organic matter that encases him, and that's like the Captain Marvel body. And so the kid is just in the middle, and so like if he faces like a really, really strong enemy, the enemy can like punch through the matter. And then when his like powers run out, it's like the kid who's like an 8-year-old kid just like crawls out of this like goopy like corpse.
That's
Do you have a
disgusting.
picture of Prime on your door?
What?
Don't you have a picture of Prime on your door?
No, I don't. That's Wonder Man. I don't think I have any.
No,
I mean,
no. That's the back of your door.
no. I have the entire run of Prime in my room somewhere, but
That's
not,
Of course you
disgusting.
do.
not up displayed anywhere.
Disgusting. Prime being disgusting, or the fact that Vince owns every issue of it?
Both? Both.
The right answer.
And then this is what I mean, how it is a major issue that they don't acknowledge any of this Clone Saga stuff. Pete takes Eddie and Ben back home, which first of all, like, it's a kind of interesting scene for a minute because MJ opens the door and oh shit, it's fucking Venom again. Which I feel like she would have been way
It's
more mad.
directly referencing the famous panel where he scares her.
Yeah. The other thing, like, MJ hates not just Venom, but like she hates
Venom.
she never wants Pete to wear a black suit again, even if it's just cloth, like he does sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I feel like her reaction is very measured here, kind of out of character.
And then we get to see Peter Parker's ass almost.
Yeah, they're back at Pete's house to refresh. I don't know. Pete takes a shower, and then Ben and Venom are just like drinking beer and watching TV.
The world is going to shit, and they're drinking beers, and Spider-Man's taking a fucking shower.
Yep.
And also critically here, which connecting back to the sponsor, we learned that MJ is a fan of the band Hootie and the Blowfish.
Does anyone? Do we want to sing the song? Do we want to try to attempt to sing the song?
No.
So
Going to a different world.
At this point, Hootie and the Blowfish released their debut album almost a year ago, which will eventually go 16 times platinum.
Jesus Christ!
And Hootie and the Blowfish is looked back as one of those like just overexposed, like very like music fads of the 90s with very questionable quality.
If you're at a bar, you're bound to hear someone. Don't you want to be with you? You're gonna hear that song at some point when you're at a bar.
So reading this in 2018, it really calls into question MJ's taste in music. Doesn't come very well.
No, it's current.
Well, yeah, for the time, but not for 2018. It's really cringy.
For 2018, but like it makes total sense that she's wearing a Hootie and the Blowfish shirt
at the time. And the lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker, would later evolve his career into a solo country act. And then, all right, so here's the thing.
Bad.
I'm pretty sure, I'm correct, that this is MJ's first time meeting Ben Reilly face to face, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
A man who looks identical to her husband.
Yep.
He hasn't dyed his hair or anything yet either.
Yep.
That's not remotely addressed.
Yep.
He's just like, she's sitting at the dining table next to the guy who looks exactly like her husband and the father of her child. And
listen, we have to get back to the point where they have to have dinner, and Eddie Brock, who's wearing a full suit now because of the symbiote, starts speaking in a soliloquy and starts bleeding blackness from his eyes.
I fucking love those panels. I think it looks so cool.
Yeah, and they do the like green saliva thing.
Billy, do you want to take the hot topic too?
Listen. Yes. No, like, I get it's like edgy, but I mean, come on. You can't say that doesn't look fucking cool.
It's laughable. It's laughable.
I kind of dig it. I think it's neat.
Oh my, no.
Yeah.
So in his soliloquy, Venom changes the plan or makes an actual plan that makes sense.
Wait, I concede. I also thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Eddie's plan is to take advantage of the symbiote's attraction to emotion, and maybe they'll go into comas from having too much emotion. And then I don't know what they'll do with them then. They say comas. So what are they going to do with the bodies? Because the portal's destroyed. Are they going to call up like Quasar and be like, hey, we're just going to put all of these symbiote corpses, symbiote comatose bodies into like a bucket and then just take it somewhere? Like they
Delivery.
didn't really think this through.
Just
No.
launch him into the sun.
And so Venom's going to go back to the church, which the church is apparently Our Lady of Sorrows. I'm assuming that was what it was originally called. I'm not going to bother to check that.
Cultural help.
And Carnage is also on the way. So we actually see the giant Carnage running through the city, unlike before when it was just like kind of in the woods. And Pete, we didn't mention it before because it didn't matter, but Pete has this thing in this story, like this minor, like connected thing where he keeps thinking about psychology. And
Right.
so his explanation for why Carnage shows up again is psychology. And
No, I think that was a callback because it was like, oh, he got Eddie to question being Venom using psychology. So I guess
exactly.
psychology can
It's
explain everything.
all that.
Oh.
It doesn't work at all. It's like he just says the word psychology.
Yeah.
Explain two random things.
Psychology.
And so Ben opens a Roxxon tanker and he's going to cause an explosion. And like there's like a decent splash page, but I feel like they could have shown this like explosion better with Carnage and all these symbiotes like getting destroyed.
And then Ben gets a giant fucking gash in his leg, and I don't know if this was part of the truck that's in his leg or just a huge ass piece of glass.
Yeah. Peter also like gets apparently like the captions and dialogue acknowledges that Peter gets seriously injured. So like both of them get injured pretty badly, and then it's not really talked about again. Like we don't see them. Well, we see them bandaged up at the very end.
Then we get some weird body horror with Venom.
Yeah, I don't understand.
This one I don't like. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I don't understand this part either. It's like they're fully integrating, like kind of similar to Carnage with like the blood thing, but not really. And like it doesn't seem to have a total difference on like his ethics at the very end or anything like that. And I'm assuming they didn't stick with this. Like I feel like the next Venom miniseries still shows like Venom talking to the symbiote, like slightly gets detached from him.
Yeah.
It's supposed to signify like they're bonding now, and it won't be broken, and then later on it's broken.
But
so it doesn't fucking matter.
He just goes and sells the thing. Like it.
He becomes anti-Venom.
But I still don't understand what actually happened. Like, I guess him merging and then like thinking really hard, like he gets really upset, and then but like combined with the explosion that Ben caused, I don't understand this because the symbiotes turn into like a rushing like liquid, and then they disappear.
Yeah. They evaporate.
They should have shown them like disintegrating or something, but they just straight up disappear, and it looks really stupid.
And then Pete points out that they've effectively committed genocide, and he wouldn't have allowed that. But like, first of all, and MJ calls this out, like, who cares? They're like murderous symbiote parasites. Also, he didn't kill a race. He killed like this one like part of a planet of like descendants of this race. Like this is not where they're originally from, and it's alluded that they're probably all over the place in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete with some weird morals, especially considering some of the weird stuff he's been doing.
And then Venom goes, "Look over there," and takes off.
And Carnage totally disappears too. Like we see the explosion, but we don't see the after effects of it at all, and then we never see Carnage again. But he disappears, but then somehow we also get told he's back in custody. So I guess the cops, like maybe there were like cops that had symbiotes attached to them, like right next to him, and they're like, "Oh, we're back to normal, so let's grab this guy real quick."
That must be. And
then Ben, after they lose Eddie, Ben goes back to Pete's place again, and MJ still doesn't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having a conversation between the three of them. And the final page, Venom has the same status quo that he's always had.
Yep, he's back to being big and black and bad and or good, I guess.
So, what did you guys think of this kind of overall? I thought it was fun. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with the Clone Saga. It's not really good, but it was like a bit of
Nothing else. I had fun with it.
Yeah. So, allegedly, this is what I don't understand. Allegedly, this and then Lethal Protector, which is, of course, his first miniseries where he's an anti-hero in San Francisco.
Mhm.
This and Lethal Protector are the two major inspirations for the upcoming Venom movie. And I have no idea how this one is going to factor in.
Yeah.
Um,
That's exciting.
And on that note,
That's terrible.
And also, staying on that note, leaked pretty much just yesterday, Marvel is actually putting out a trade paperback collecting this story arc. And it'll come out in like around September, which I assume is close-ish to the movie. And $16 for 128 pages, if anyone wants to read that. And I'm sure this story arc is in the Venomnibus or will eventually be in all that crap. So that pretty much concludes this episode. And next episode, we are going to finally, Matt, do you know what we're doing next episode?
We're finally doing Amazing Spider-Man 400. I'm legitimately excited for this.
Yes, a major, major point.
There's Aunt May dies, but not really.
Yeah, it's actually an actress that is being paid to impersonate her in a coma.
Wait, I didn't even know that. I'm now intrigued.
Yep.
Right. Well, we're not. I think that retcon isn't even explained until after the Clone Saga. But tune in next time for that. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Don't die.